Welcome to the Microsoft Training Event, Session 1, sponsored by Bass Computers. In this session, we will go over the benefits of the new, beautiful, fast, and fluid Windows 8 with Raul Bandeira.
Thank you very much for taking time away from your business. You know how important it is for you to be close to your customers, to come here today and talk to us, and just setting it up a little bit. What I would like to get out of this is my goal, and I'd love to hear from you at the end if I achieve that goal or not. This is not about coming and just giving you a presentation on data and information about Windows 8, but hopefully some of the conversation here will help you think strategically a little bit about your business as well as the businesses that you enable. Right? So that's what I would like to get from the presentation this morning. And again, if we're going to go, I have to kind of get in the back here to change the slides, unfortunately, but yes, I think it would be great. So, and again, if you feel that you can continue paying attention because there's a question that you have to answer, please go ahead and do. We limited to about 45 minutes or so of content here, but let's make sure that you have the information you need at the end of the presentation. Just setting the context of the conversation, so I'm going to be talking about Windows 8 and Windows Server 2012, and I'm going to start with Windows 8 because I think it's a nice flow going into servers. But I believe you experience some very similar things than I do when you go talk to your customers, when you go to your offices. I don't know the size of your companies, but even very small companies kind of face the same thing. And you see more and more people coming to work with multiple devices in hand because that's the way they feel productive. That's the way they get work done. So the work environment is changing dramatically and rather quickly. And I know it's not new, right? I remember when I joined Microsoft in 1995, left last January, so about 16 years and change. Back in 1997, we had smartphones already. And I remember being able to access, at the time, Exchange, my email and all that. I wasn't really doing it for the rest of the users outside of the IT industry. What we're seeing today is regardless of industry you're in, or your customers are in, you see that for the first time, you see the emergence of consumer technology being the main driver of innovation within the enterprise, right, within the organization. So you see people bringing in, and this is what the thing is that these technologies are not coming in through the back door. They're coming in through the front door, in the pockets and of the employees and the purses and briefcases, right? So if you look at what's to come, and I'm setting it up here for you to understand the strategy behind Windows 8, is imagine the digital generation that's coming behind this generation that's in now, right, us. And imagine that they are fluent in digital speak and applications and devices. So imagine the demand that these people have on IT organizations within enterprises in terms of what are the technologies I want to see so I can be productive and deliver the work you want me to deliver. So if you think about that, they want to have a say in what technologies the company is onboarding, which puts an immense amount of pressure on some of you for running your own businesses when you hire new people, and also for your customers when they hire people. But I think that we are in the business of saying yes to this generation because they are the ones that are going to be bringing the innovation in. They are the ones that will need these tools so they can bring in their passion to do their best work. So we have a choice, really. So clearly we had a choice, and the choice is we either enable that or we move away from it. And I don't think it would have been a very nice, very intelligent strategic move for Microsoft not to recognize this trend. So just show of hands quickly, how many of you see this or feel this pressure of applications that are not necessarily enterprise ready but coming to the business? Right, so I get a lot of nods here, so that's the important piece of this conversation. And I'm going to address now this in the Windows 8 solution in the 3 pockets here. The operating system itself, the devices that enable the power of the operating system, right, or vice versa, and the applications. So what is the strategy? Because this, when I have conversations with my friends, the first question that come, and I guess you get the same one, is Windows 7 is awesome, awesome. Why would you change it? So I think that this is what the strategy is. The strategy for us is to go to places where would empower the device and experience that the users love. So we want to enable that experience, but at the same time, enabling the business to continue to protect its information and intellectual property, that they have continuity in the business, so it's not like the app of the jour, right? Because this app is popular, let's deploy it, and if it's no longer popular next year, we change it all again. So it's thinking end to end on how we enable the experience with the corporate grade solutions. Right? So this is a very important part of the conversation. And what I would like to bring here is, let's look at Microsoft's track record of knowing consumers and knowing enterprise, and being able to deliver on both sides of what consumers want and what enterprises need. That is what the strategy is behind Windows 8. Are you with me? Okay? Great. So, what are the areas of investment then that allows this to happen? So let me build the entire slide. So I have to keep on coming back behind the data here. Well, the first one is I do have those conversations with my customers, my clients, but I do with my friends as well, is the no compromise business tablets. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. It's looking at form factor that does not prevent you from doing the things that you already do with any of the other devices you have. So the ability to, having touch, yes, but continue the ability to have a mouse and a keyboard. And it's not as just an additional thing that is not kind of thought through. Yes, you can use it. No, it's having the exact same experience as you have with your other devices. All the things that you can do with Windows on your laptop or your desktop, in a tablet, or any other form factor that allows you to use the investments you've made in direct access, for instance, right? Because you don't have to deploy VPN to have connection to your corporate network. The end-to-end security, knowing that you don't have to make new investments every time a new device comes with a different operating system in how you secure access to your network or access to your corporate data. That is super important in the decision that corporation makes in terms of whether I embrace this bring your own device trend that's happening across the board, or if I try to steer clearly away from it. And that's consequences one way or another. And at the end of virtualization and management, because one thing is virtualizing, the other thing is knowing where it went, right? It's great conversations to have with customers when they say, I want to virtualize, I'm ready to virtualize, until you start talking to them about, do you realize, are you happy for everything?
What make was the laptop?
Yeah, it's an Acer, so maybe not a very good time to use your logo in front of your customers. But so just a quick recap here. So we are going into the areas of investment, and now talking about all the things that we're trying to bring into Windows 8 in any other forms, and we're going to talk about what the additions are. But talking about the tablets, it is very important that you talk to your customers, because the perception in the market today is that all we're doing with Windows 8 is promote tablets. In reality, the tablet is a very important piece of the strategy, as you see, but it's not the only piece of the strategy. Okay? So there is a misconception that Windows 8 is really good for tablet, but maybe not so good for the rest of it. right? So form factor, go ahead.
A question about the word tablet here. When you're referring to this, are we referring to the Microsoft tablets themselves only, or are you talking about tablets across the board in the enterprise?
So the tablet that I have with me, so thank you for the question, the tablet I have with me is a Samsung, if that answers your question. So
Yeah,
it's,
it does.
it's across the board, and you see that the form factor will be a critical piece to this too, because there'll be at one point, there'll be the line between a tablet and a laptop will blur entirely. It will depend on whether you're carrying just the screen or the entire thing, so you'll see a little bit of that.
Are you talking about between Android and Microsoft software?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, Android, Microsoft, the tablet in our part of things means everything from an iPad across the board to the new Samsungs. We
I
cannot
have a
always
slide. I
dictate.
have a slide that's just for that. It'd be perfect for that. So we'll get in there in a second. Hold on a second. I think I see it. Yep. So what are the? I think that this one is just to clarify the channels too, because I think it's important for you talking to your customers on where I go to get what. So you see that I'm not talking a lot about the ARM version of Windows 8, which is the called RT. Which is only pre-installed with OEMs, which in a lot of cases might be in the future solutions that you will provide, but I'm not going to be talking, I'm going to talk about the x86 solution much more. And understanding that there is a simplicity in the way you choose Windows 8 now. And you see that that is a theme that's going across all the products from Microsoft. You see that Windows Server 2012, the simplification of SKUs, the simplification of editions, the simplification of licensing is the direction that we're going with. So this is just to be in the presentation when we share it with you, so you have that information when you're having conversations with the customer. Now, Windows 8 Pro specifically, so we looked at it, you saw that Windows 8 Pro is available in all the channels, right? But in volume licensing specifically, and this is what I'm talking about here, is only available as an upgrade, as you know, in volume licensing. And the small business benefits of Windows Pro extend on what we already had on Windows 7. And you see that things like BitLocker and BitLocker to go, the concept is the same, but the way you apply it and use it is much more, is friendlier, how you get to it in Windows 8. So when you look at the ability for virtualization of an environment for development, for instance, right? It makes it so much quicker for you to develop solutions for your customers using the virtualization within Windows 8 Pro. The mobile broadband support that comes with the product, that's not an add-on. It's another one that's going to be pervasive across all the devices, and devices that we haven't even talked about yet, right, or the form factors. But it is about providing that across the board. Any questions? So what is the second piece of this conversation here is devices. And the first thing that starts in the device piece here is touch. And I want you to think about the conversation you're having with your customers. It's not about pointing on an icon. Touch is about how you flow in the gestures across all the devices. It's not just like I have an all-in-one in my family PC, the ability to click on choices. No, it's the ability to command and flow all your applications in front of you based on touch. The thinner, lighter, faster, I know it's, I mean, can you qualify how much thinner and faster? I think the important thing here is all the technology that comes in with, so Intel is going to be talking about SoC, right? System on chip technology and helping boot with the UEFI to be quicker. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, you know, some of you are my generation here, and I remember when we talking to our friends is, I have a 386, you have a 486, and so it's coolest, right? So that's not what I'm talking about here from the fastness, booting fast and being right on all the time. And everything else that comes with it, and the length of the battery, is not just advancing in the hardware or the battery itself, but the way it consumes energy. which becomes a lot smarter when you have a device that you're going to be carrying around and you don't, you see in some events it's so funny that everybody's sitting around the room because that's what the outlets are. Right? There's no one sitting in the middle. I mean, there's so many events that I go say, what is odd? Oh, everyone's sitting in a U shape. And what about, well, because everyone wanted an outlet. So being independent of electricity becomes such a great benefit. And those are the things that we're bringing in Windows 8. And this is the slide I wanted to show you, because this is super cool. Right? Because it is about, I want a tablet, but I need a PC. Right? So it can be an either or. I consume information, or I produce or create. It has to be and. So that's what we're trying to bridge here, is to have the experience from one end to another functionality that allows you, when you want to consume, you consume. When you want to create, you create. You don't have to toss one device aside because I am creative right now. Does that make sense? I think it does. I have to be honest with you. I do work with an iPad because I want to know what the experience is. I want to be able to talk from experience. And I tell you, so many times I started writing an email, and I can type very fast on it. And then I want to start doing some editing and some formatting, and trust me, it's a moment of frustration right there. Great device, doesn't do everything for me. So what we're trying to do in the middle here is to work with all of the partners in the industry and bridge this gap. No matter what format you choose, you're having the same exact experience. And that's what makes it a very strong proposition for customers. Is regardless of which one I choose, and you will see that people will go up in terms of amount of devices. I don't think it's going to lower the amount of devices you sell. And I would like you to pay attention to this. It's not about selling less. I think you're going to sell more because there'll be companion things, because I'm going to make a choice now. I'm traveling. I'm going to travel with 2.5 pounds or with 0.8 pounds or whatever it is, or 1 pound, right? It's too much, it's bulky, it's light. That's the choices you're going to make, not the, I'm going to buy just a tablet because I can do everything with it. Because it's not really where this is going. The trend in the industry is not that. Does that make sense? I think this slide is pretty powerful when you're talking to your customers about the business proposition that you're bringing to them. And there is the tablet. And I have one here, and I'm going to disappoint you to say that because of a simple thing as an adapter, and I hope that that's the second thing we get rid of. So first is a charger. The second thing is the dongles and adapters, because they kill us. I won't be able to show, I can show it to you, but I can't be able to project what's on the tablet and give you a demo because we don't have an adapter there. But the important things here is, the things in here is full support for mouse and keyboard. Full support. Right? It's not like one thing that you're going to find. It's full support for mouse and keyboard. The second thing is all the productivity that you already use. No compromise on Office or any line of business applications that you're running in your environment. And the last one there is that being able to manage security in the same exact way you're managing it today. So if Windows 8 delivers on the promises that we're making here, and we believe it will, and you can allow and embrace, bring your own device in your organization or your customer's organization for the tablets, whichever form factor it is, right? Being able to do to manage the security exactly, you'll be able to manage it exactly the same way you do it today. And that will be a great value proposition for your customers. Question?
I was just wondering, on the tablets that are running the ARM processors or whatever, I'm going to be able to do my enterprise security as far as accessing that tablet in the rest of the world?
Well, I can't answer that specifically in any specific
Can I
case.
log on
I'll
to
say
a
that
domain?
there'll be applications that might not run in ARM.
Can I log on to a domain?
Oh yeah. This is Windows 8 Pro has.
But Windows 8 won't let you do that, is that correct? Just like Home won't let you? Now 7 Home?
No.
He's asking the question between
No,
8
Windows,
and Pro.
Windows 8 Pro, yes, Windows, yeah, correct. So the same way you have home, yes.
Okay,
So you have Windows 8, I was talking about Windows 8 Pro.
okay.
Yeah, I'm focusing on business.
And
That
Windows 8
that has domain, yeah,
And Windows 8 Pro runs on the tablets?
correct,
Okay.
yes.
And as far as the Windows 8 demo, be sure to come by the barbecue, the Microsoft booth at the barbecue, because we'll have lots of devices there to show real demos on.
So this is really quick here is the investment that the partners are making in, again, architecture, use of the technology that's in the software, form factors. I guarantee you we're going to be surprised by many form factors we didn't even thought was possible. I've seen at corporate some pretty cool devices that I didn't even think that we were able to execute just from I'm a mechanical engineer by trade, but from a mechanical standpoint, it is really, really cool. And no matter how much, I understand we are in IT, we understand that cool and functional and feasible is not necessarily always the same thing, but cool matters. You see people choose the things that they use because it is cool, no matter whether you admit in front of others or not, right? So it is important that you have that ability to sell on the cool factor as well. So this is what I wanted to leave.
Are you going to comment on Windows 8 on conventional PCs and laptops?
Well,
touch devices?
if you're talking about touch devices, I don't know that that is even possible.
Non-touch devices.
Or non-touch device, I had it on mine. It's just that I kind of rebuild my PC on a regular basis and wasn't able to install the Windows 8 for this presentation, but I use it without touch. It's a nascent no touch. And I can kind of show it here with the tablet in a second, where you go to the desktop the same way. You can operate from your desktop the same way you operate with Windows 7 today.
Why would you operate Windows 8 instead of Windows 7?
Because, well, it's a very big question because it depends on what scenario you're talking about, where you are in your IT cycle, of the age of your machine. There's so many different things I have to consider to answer that question. But my case particularly is because of what I've been talking about here. I want my applications in front of me, and I like the fact that I can flow the information in front of me much easier than I can with Windows 7. Windows 7, I get today to some icons that display some. It's a preference. I'm not trying to sell it to you, but to convince you of that. You're going to have to get to it at one point. But if you're talking about your customers adopting Windows 8, it's going to depend on a lot of different things. And quite honestly, if your customer is in the direction of deploying Windows 7, we love it. We love it, right? Because that is the path to Windows 8. What it can happen is your customer sitting on XP. That is a no-no, because the experience there, it's just a loss. There's nothing of any benefit to a customer today staying on XP, other than the fact that they might have to refresh their hardware, which they're going to have to do no matter what, no matter choice they make, right? So I want to be clear, Windows 7, beautiful, love it to death. So if they are in that path, keep them there.
We have a lot of customers that run on proprietary software built for XP. So
Yes.
there is a reason to have it.
Oh, no, and again, let me rephrase this. I'm not saying that there are reasons, but if you think about the problem, it's much bigger than migration. Right? Because if they run in the business of a line of business application that runs only on XP, that's a bigger problem to be addressed. It's not just a migration. So yes, I understand that that's the case.
Now with Windows 7, we have them migrated already to Windows 7 on the better part of all the applications. But are those applications going to be able to migrate seamlessly to Windows 8?
But isn't that a beautiful question though? Because that service is for you. It's beyond the application of selling Windows 7 license.
Right.
It's how you talk to your customer as a trusted advisor and take them to where they want to be. Right, so I would love to have your problem, in other words. That's a problem that's beautiful, really. It's when your customer comes to you and say, you know what, I have to migrate, I have to integrate, I have to do whatever it is, service. Unless you don't do it, then it's a big problem. Right? If you're in the business of saying yes, it's beautiful.
I'm assuming that all the Windows 8 things are going to be backing up to the cloud.
No. You have, if you look at the way you choose, where you back up things, the way you operate on a daily basis, changes nothing from what you have inside. It opens new avenues that are easier for you to.
Availability.
Correct. Yeah, but doesn't change, ultimately does not change the way in your style. You're not going to be forced into doing anything. You do what you want to do because it is Windows. Right, so I think that's important point to make too. Thank you, because there's another misconception that, you know, I have a tablet and I know you have storage in the tablet and you can keep it with you if you want to.
My experience in using the Windows 8 beta is I really liked it, but it's all geared toward cloud computing to me. That, in my experience, it was just, that's what it is. It's a cloud, it's an operating system based for cloud computing, and pretty much that's it. It's almost like a lot of trouble just to get to the desktop. You can use it just like Windows 7 once you get to the desktop, but it's very much geared towards cloud computing. And my customer base has not, my customer base where I am is, there's very little of that right now. I know that everything's going that way, and Microsoft is pushing that very heavily, but we're not there yet. And it's almost like when you come to the Windows 8, the Windows 8 main screen there, it's like, I want to get past this because I don't use any of that stuff. I don't have my music in the cloud, I don't have my documents in the cloud, I don't use 365, I don't do those things. I've got all my stuff right here, so why wouldn't I use Windows 7? And it's almost like this stuff is in the way of what I want to do because on a desktop or even on a laptop. But I understand on the tablet. But if I'm not cloud yet, why do I need it?
So it is, no matter how you look at it, people, it is a paradigm. I agree with you. It's not a trivial, I hope I didn't use that word in any part of the conversation, that it is a trivial choice. What we're showing, and I think is important as you talk to your customers as an advisor, to show direction. And if directionally they're not there, they're not there. I don't think it's for you to tell them the direction you chose is wrong, but it's to show that that direction on cloud is there. And although they might not have a use for it today, as it becomes more pervasive, they will. And they're not ready. I'm okay with that. And again, if it's Windows 7 that direction today, it is Windows 7.
I just had a question on the preview release. Was that essentially Windows 8 or Windows 8 Pro?
Ooh, now you got me.
Well, the reason I asked is
Is what?
It's Pro.
It is Pro?
there was no domain access on the preview release.
Well, I think that the preview release didn't have a lot of different
Well, I
things. so-
understand that. That's the reason I asked.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm just kind of elaborating here. I would love to give you the right answer.
Well, that's all right, but a right answer is I don't know.
No, correct, that's what I'm saying, and I think I don't know. I don't know for the preview. But what I'm saying is, I'd love to give back to you as you're here still today. So I'll see if I can get
Since I looked at that fairly exhaustively, I wanted to know.
Thank you.
Going back to that gentleman just a minute ago, I'm in the same situation he is. I'm in an ultra-conservative area, getting them to upgrade. I mean, I've still got people running 2,000 servers, and I'm having trouble getting them to upgrade. I know, but it's just...
You're not the only one.
And,
You have to show value. You have to show value.
I understand. You don't understand my particular marketplace is one of the ultra-conservative. It's hard to get them to move on anything. I don't care if you put it under their nose and show, the roses. That's the way, what I've had to deal with for 25 years, and I'm used to it. But on his thing, what he was saying about the Windows 8, is there any way that we can get past this cloud stuff and get to the meat and potatoes that we need to use? Because that's going to mean the difference
Like a
between-
default boot up.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be happy to take that back, but I
Just
can't
put
do
the start button back.
much with it. I hope that's, April is here for that, to take some of these things back. I don't know if I can tell you
So
that
is your
that is.
question is,
I'm
can you
not
go
saying
to the-
taking it back, I'm saying a shortcut to get to the place where we can get to the meat and potatoes of what myself and that gentleman down there if we're gonna sell this, we've gotta have a way that we can get these people to where they're not gonna go through a bunch of gobbledygook. If they go through that, they're not gonna mess with it, it's gonna make it impossible to
So I
sell.
would say that my suggestion to you is Windows 7. Because if you are in a conservative area, and the interface of Windows 8 it is what it is, right? This is the interface because of what we're trying to show is maybe not in your area, but people trying to be productive, whichever time they decide to be productive, rather than dropping something and start something else.
And that's feedback that we've heard. You can't do it to desktop, but the most popular tile for some people is going to be the desktop tile. I mean,
Exactly. So the
So
tile,
that you
the
can't
tile
create
that
a
you
shortcut.
press every
the
morning.
shortcut, right.
So can I ask something? Because I would love to be able to cover, we have 20 minutes left, I'd like to cover Windows Server,
Yeah,
because that's very important.
one more
Go ahead.
little thing, and that is, in my environment, most of my customers are small. A number of them absolutely refuse to attach their business networks to the internet at all.
Yep, that happens.
Okay, and so the whole thing about the cloud becomes moot, and that's a business decision on your part.
Okay.
And they're never going to change
Contractual
it.
decision. I have people who have data that under contract cannot go outside of the office, period. It cannot be connected to the internet.
Yeah, I've seen law firms that have some restrictions.
Oil and
like
gas
that.
firms,
Yes.
they have contractual where they cannot back up anything outside of their internal.
Yeah, and that has to do with commercial security, not anything to do with network or anything else.
Yeah.
No, I can definitely see the problem, yes.
This could be a licensing question, because what we're really facing is, a lot of times we see when a new OS comes out, very quickly, we can't get any copies of the old one. If we're gonna stay with Windows 7 because we have an operational need, then we have to know we can continue to get it for a length of time, whereas we could be concerned that Windows 8 is gonna quickly overrun Windows 7,
You're
and
gonna be
then
able to
suddenly
get
you
Windows
can't get the licenses for it.
Yeah.
How long, though?
I think that I am passing on to you the message that I was asked to pass on, right? So I think that with confidence, I can say that I'm coming here to tell you if your customer is on a Windows 7 path, that's the way we would
That's
like
a
it
good
to
path.
continue. That means that I don't believe that that's the case.
I don't either,
Yeah.
by the looks of it, but at the same time, Vince.
There's no
sat here
interest in
before,
this, yeah, I don't
had
think
to
that's
ask that
interest.
question.
Yeah.
It's not just licensing, it's service packs, it's security
And
updates.
security and updates and the whole, yeah, I agree.
Well,
agree.
I hope that we showed with XP that that can be a long, long, long time. So if that's not long enough, then I don't know what is, really.
That's a
Right.
Microsoft win, we have no knowledge of what it's been doing.
Well, yeah, but again.
You're asking companies to make a business decision based on zero knowledge.
Well, the zero knowledge is that we have at least 3 years from when we announce. Huh?
Yes.
That's 3 years before we announce.
Microsoft has also been known to cancel whole product lines just like that.
Well, if we cancel Windows 8 product
Yeah.
lines, I don't think I'm gonna be presenting next year.
But if Microsoft changes their mind sometimes,
Yeah.
then we're left over the value of our customers. Why would you do this stuff?
I apologize if that is the feeling. I think that we're here for that, trying to communicate to you what it is that we're doing. So let me move on to Windows Server, because this is super important, and I'm gonna stick around. I'm sorry, sorry to
So
go.
the bottom line is we can expect the support for Windows 7 to continue for at least 3 more years. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it hasn't even been announced
It
that
hasn't
it's
been
an end of
announced.
support in any way. What I'm saying is that whenever we announce, it's never less than 3 years ahead.
Okay.
So, correct. You
Yes.
got it.
So if January 1st they announce
Before we
something,
announce it.
expected it would be through 2016. But until that point, there's
Yeah,
there's
and
at least
I
another.
actually don't see that this
Yeah.
being something that we should be really a concern at this particular moment in this room. It's really long time.
But these are questions our customers have.
No, I understand.
Ready to answer.
I understand. Well, the answer is 3 years from the day we announce it, we haven't made any announcement. So
Right.
they know they have 36 months minimum.
Well, I think the real question though goes back to what he said. We're not talking about an announcement date of product into support. We're talking about when Windows 8 comes out in the marketplace. Typically what happens is Windows 7 becomes no longer available.
In volume
Purchase.
licensing.
No, to purchase purely.
The
If I
full
go back
disc.
and say, hey, I want Windows 7, and they say, I'm sorry, they're not selling it anymore. You have to
And-
buy Windows 8. I'm stuck at that point for the customer that wants to continue
I-
with Windows 7.
I'd like to answer that. I'd like to answer
Please.
that. As a
Yeah.
BAS representative, let me answer that, because up until this point, you could still install XP Pro on Windows 7 machines because of the downgrade rights that Microsoft gives. So when XP was no longer produced, and they came out with Vista,
Yes.
right? We came out with Windows 7, and you guys are still screaming, I have customers that still need XP. And what have we told you as sales reps? We said, buy the Windows 7, and you can exercise the downgrade rights to be able to get that customer into
Correct.
their environment.
Correct.
And going forward with Windows 8, as that product evolves and we see products shrink in the market, okay, that, Amy, am I wrong? Is Windows 8 going to allow a downgrade right?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Absolutely.
because that's how Microsoft works. So
And-
even if the full disk product is not available, what I would suggest as a rep for you is to have your copy of Windows 7 disk that you keep, and then as your customer says, I need to downgrade, you utilize the downgrade right. Yes, you have to call Microsoft, the 800 number, and say, I'm utilizing the downgrade right from Windows 8 to Windows 7,
Okay.
and you're ready to go.
More particularly, it's Windows 7 Pro.
Yes, of course, yeah, because we're not talking about
It's the
home, we're in the
entire-
business world.
Well, I know, but
So-
so we're talking probably Windows 8 Pro.
Of course,
Okay, just wanna
we're
make
not
sure
even
we're all-
discussing home because
Okay.
we're learning how to do business here
And I don't-
and not consumers that, go and buy the cheapest possible thing they can from, whoever's got the thing on sale for Christmas. So, we're trying to develop business here. So yes, we're always talking about the business product here.
Thank you, and thank you for I think the clarification about downgrade rights, because you still can get the bids. What you can buy is the box of the product, but you still can get the bids from previous products to use the downgrade rights if you have them. So I just want to close here the Windows 8 piece saying that because IDC and others say that we're going to continue to grow as a platform, and we are investing heavily so Windows 8 will make this curve even steeper, the fact that we as a platform, they're going to continue to be the development of apps and the opportunity is pretty large, maybe not necessarily for you, but to say that your customers will be even more interested in Windows 8 because of the applications they're going to follow, and because they find more applications, they're even more interested. So that's what the investment is about here, right? And just to close it here, the Imagine Windows, we talked about pretty much everything in here, the cross-platform, how the monetization of it from an application, which is not necessarily for this audience here. Well, I'm talking about application development, right? Am I right?
Right.
Okay, yes. So I didn't mean monetization, because you guys don't need to make money. But I want to go to the overview of Windows Server 2012.